You're seeing a big battle happen right now between those that want to restrict those listings, those properties being shown on all websites like Zillow and Redfin, and then the other side, which is Zillow and Redfin saying, hey, this is unfair. You can't keep listings secret, right? It's almost like the Compasses of the world versus the Zillows of the world. And then NAR, the National Association of Realtors, is sitting right in the middle. I've got a document for you right here that we need to go over. It's by the Consumer Policy Center. And it's important to go over this because you start understanding what these organizations that are watching out for the consumer are looking out for and why it could be a massive problem for the real estate world. I'm Tristan Ahumada. I run Lab Code Agents. I have a team out here, and I also run a brokerage out of California called Y Realty. Let's get right into this one. This document is in the notes. You can go ahead and grab it there if you want to follow along with me. I've highlighted it, and let me just grab it here so we can all go through it really quick and have some fun. Here it is by Wendy Gilch, and let me scroll up so you can see who it's by. The Consumer Policy Center. It says new Zillow policy will help protect home buyers and sellers from anti-consumer private listing networks. That's the title. It's already strong, but check out the next highlighted yellow line that I highlighted there. It says DOJ should weigh in to ensure buyer access to listings and to check big broker manipulation of sellers. That is strong language. This is what the consumer, protection industry is looking at. This is the very first one I've seen. Maybe there's a few other ones, but let's go take a look. I highlighted the yellow ones that I think are important to go through, but the red ones really stood out for me. Let's look at the next one. It said, this initiative represents an effort to stop or at least slow down the efforts of Compass and other big brokers to dominate the residential brokerage industry and disadvantage consumers through private listing networks. Now, at the end here, you'll see at the bottom in about 2 minutes or 3, why their point and why it makes sense, right? Now, in the yellow, this is important. Private listing networks limit buyer access to homes for sale and promote misleading and disadvantaged choices for most sellers, said Wendy Gilch, the author of this document, a Consumer Policy Center fellow. The networks would severely limit marketplace transparency and could well subject both buyers and sellers to manipulation by unethical brokers. They're saying, in essence, saying what we've been saying for the most part is like, hey, when you keep a property off market, and I'll come back to the document, but when you keep a property off market, in some cases, and they say it in here, in some cases it's necessary, some sellers want it. But what happens is you're going to have the opportunity or give the opportunity to those agents that are not great. And look, there are some agents out there that are just not great. They're bad apples. And so those will ruin it for the rest of us and saying, hey, not only are they going to keep it secret to double end it, but they're going to keep it secret to sell it within the brokerage. And in essence, that's what they're saying Compass is doing here, saying, hey, they're just watching out for themselves. Right now, let's keep reading here. It says, experts fear that private listing brokers will seek to sell listings only to buyers working with the company's own agents. Like I said, then if they fail, make the listing available to the other big brokers. It's like, hey, we tried it. It didn't work. Now we need your help. The U.S. Department of Justice should take a close look at potential antitrust violations by those brokers who use deceptive practices to try to dominate the market. I mean, this is strong language. This is being sent to the Department of Justice. And I think I did a short video on this last week. One of the assistants to the Attorney General was a key witness in the Sitzer-Burnett case, saying that NAR is a monopoly. And so he's not very friendly towards the industry to start with. And now he's going to get something like this on his lap. Now, this is important to take a look at. There is evidence that some big brokers, notably Compass, why? Because they keep on making noise about it, are already encouraging their agents to promote private listings. There's also evidence that some agents are taking advantage of the consumer unfamiliarity, which is what I was talking about. It's like, look, a lot of these people out there, they don't know. Like, would you know as a regular consumer that it wouldn't benefit you as much if they put it out to the internet versus to maybe just your group of agents in your brokerage? Believe it or not, they don't do this every day. So to them, they may not know the difference. And in some cases, they will go to an attorney and say, hey, I got taken advantage of. And that's what they're talking about here, right? It says unfamiliarity with the sales process to persuade sellers to sign up for private listings. These listings limit access to buyers, which could well minimize sale prices and extend the time it sells. Now, in the green, it says there was some research done by Zillow with, I think, 10 million properties showing that it's much better to list properties out in the open and transparent to as many people as possible. And there was some research, minimal research done with some of the Compass listings that Compass showed otherwise. I mean, at that point, I know who to believe, right? And they're saying pretty much the same thing. You can read this, some details of what's happened just over the last few years. And then at the end here, which is what I wanted to read to you. Let me see if I can zoom in here. I think there it is. Perfect. Let's read this together. We encourage all sellers to think twice before permitting a listing agent to restrict the marketing of their properties within private listing networks, said the CPC's Gilch, the author of this one. Sellers will attract the most buyers' interest when their home is visible across many major real estate websites as possible. Some, like Zillow, draw over 1 billion visits a year, far surpassing any other platform in reach. I mean, does that not make logical sense? Right? And buyers should be skeptical of private listers who try to sign buyers to contracts by claiming to have access to off-market properties, she added. Right? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. What do you think about all this? I know you can clearly see what I think on this. Definitely think it's a step backwards to restrict, at this point where we're at, to restrict showing listings to everyone out there so we can sell them quickly for our consumer, right? For our seller for the most amount of money. And then giving all the access to buyers equally. It's important. But look, I'm always open to discussing this, and I love other people's opinions. Tell me what you think about this. How do you see this? Because we're all learning together. Anyway, follow me for more. Share this with anybody else. Have an awesome day. Get the link in the description. And you know the whole thing with YouTube or wherever you're watching this. Just follow. Thanks.